Good evening, everyone. Happy Halloween. It is I, your friendly Count Swish Diablo. I'm hoping that everyone has a good evening on Halloween with trick or treat, all kinds of good things that happens. Who knows? What if you actually encounter a real ghost, vampire, perhaps even a werewolf? If you encounter any of those, they are a friend of mine, and that I hope that all of you will enjoy all my new stories for Halloween. And remember, anything can happen on Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone! Halloween has always been one of my favorite holidays, with the spookiness and the free candy you can get. Even though nothing really happened to me when I was younger doing trick or treat, but this year I was doing trick or treat with my younger sister Sarah. She was 11, though I was 18, so yes, I was way old for trick or treat. And my name is Mason, by the way. And of course, my parents usually would take my sister for trick or treat. But they were busy this year, so they asked me to do it, and I didn't see no reason for why for that. I mean, I love my sister. She is my only sister I have. So she promised to give me some of her candy as for help, which I didn't mind, even though I did tell her I didn't have to. But she wanted to do this for me, so I obliged. So for Halloween, we went out and we were told to be home around 9 p.m. sharp or even like that. And so I took her and we went around in the neighborhood and went to a different one. We encountered some of my friends and some of her friends. And we did get a lot of candy for her. And it was around 9 p.m. when it was, well, close to 9. It was around, I would say, 8:50 or 8:55, something like that. So it was time for us to go back home. So as we were heading back home, I saw this weird clown falling behind us. And so I took Sarah's hand and just told her to walk faster. But this clown somehow started running after us. And this loud thumping on the ground, Sarah turned around and saw it. She saw this clown and she was freaking out. She was really scared. And I don't blame her. I mean, she's 11. And this freaking clown just running from middle of nowhere. And just, so I stopped, picked her up, and started running as fast as I could. I admit, I'm a fast runner, and the clown couldn't keep up with us. So he stopped, just middle of the street like that, and I didn't even stop. I kept running, and he made out this loud yell of anger that he couldn't even get us. When we were actually at home, and our parents asked us when I just suddenly just barged in from the front door, and I told them what happened. Of course, they called the police. And during the time, I was really like keep an eye on the windows and the door just in case if this clown guy would eventually find us or something. Because even though he stopped and started yelling, I'm not sure if he did even follow after us. I mean, I didn't hear him running anything, but my heart was pounding so hard and so fast I couldn't even hear it myself. And well, we did receive a visit by the police a bit later, and they told us they found a guy, and it turned out he was pretty high on meth, and he wasn't wearing any weapons of some sort. The later turned out that he was only doing this to scare people because there was the scary holiday, which, okay, I guess that makes sense, but still, it was just pretty scary. I mean, especially for my younger sister, who was only 11 at the time. If she was had been alone, I have no idea what happened. If she was with my dad, who's a pretty big guy, I really doubt that this clown would even do anything. But my dad is about 6'5", and I'm pretty tall myself. I would say 6'1" or so. And but still, thanks to my fast running, I pretty much had could have saved my sister's life. I mean, I wouldn't have. I did tell my parents that if something would happen, I would just stop and run after this guy and beating him. But my dad told me that would probably have been a stupid reason because he wouldn't have. I wouldn't have known if this guy was armed with a knife or something, which makes sense in afterwards. But I'm glad that he wasn't armed or anything. But after all this, scared Sarah was so scared for sure, but she was happy that I made her keep her safe, and as a promise, I would go with her the next year for trick or treat. And of course, she gave me some of the candy for that. And the last I heard about this guy, well, since he was high on meth, he was arrested, of course. And yeah, so to this creepy high clown, don't ever do this again to other people. Next time you may not be so lucky. So yeah, please don't do that ever again. Thank you. When I was younger, I always loved doing trick or treat. But when I was getting older, I stopped doing it. But then I started getting to be invited to some Halloween parties. There is only one particular Halloween party that I had the most bad experience. Luckily though, this hasn't happened to me ever since. But still, it was pretty bad. My name is Violet, and this happened around Halloween of 2014. I was invited to a Halloween party with a close friend of mine, and I actually went there with my fiance Jan. We went there. We were a total of 20 people, and there were some drinks, some candy, and of course a lot of dancing. And during the party, John was talking to some other guests, and I'm alone. I was standing by one of the tables because by myself, and this guy walked up to me, and we had a just decent conversation. I mean, I'm pretty social, and some people say that I'm so social that I can't say no for anything, which I had a little bit problem with in the past, but not much anymore. But he started to ask me if I was interested maybe to take a dance with him, but I said no. I just want to relax and just enjoy the party. Then he started to flirt with me. I told him that I was flattered, but I was already taken, and my fiance was at the party. But he didn't seem to believe me. And I said I was about to leave him alone, but somehow he grabbed my arm and told me to stop, that that we should go. But then, by the most miracle, John showed up and he saw me and this guy later named is Adam. And John told him to let me go, but Adam told him to not to bother anything like this because I was his girlfriend and we were leaving. But John yelled so loud, even his voice was booming out, even booming over out of the music in the background. People looked, and a few guy friends that I had get to know of the party grabbed Adam and told him to let me go. And he started to struggle and telling them that I was his girlfriend and we were leaving the party. But everyone at the party knew I was engaged with John, not Adam. And this was the first time I ever even knew about it. I ever even met him. So some of the guys just threw him out and he just walked off angrily. It could have gone much worse, but I'm glad that I actually went to the party with with John. I later learned that Adam was someone that that my friend knew, and that this guy was pretty bad personality, and my friend cut all friendship ties with him, which I'm pretty glad that he did. And many others did the same thing because it turned out some of the other ladies at the party had the same problem with Adam. Some was just so bad that they managed to get away from him. But when he saw me, I think that he maybe saw me as an easy target like the others. He was pretty drunk at the same time, so he thought maybe I was just simple target. But I did ask my friend about Adam later on, but if he knew anything what happened to him. Last time he heard, Adam was fired from his job and left town. At least what from I heard. So Adam, even though there's no chance for us ever meeting again, please don't behave like this to other women. Because if you do, it's only a matter of time before you get yourself kicked in the butt or something worse. So yeah, I really hope that you stay away from people, and for all of that, let us never meet ever again. Halloween is one of my favorite times of the year when I was younger to always get free candy from many houses I could, even with my parents at first, later on with my friends. But this particular Halloween, around 2008, when I was 13 years old, which also would have been the last year of trick or treat for me, and I wanted to make it special. And this was the most scariest one that I ever had gone through myself. But to make this the last Halloween trick or treat for myself, I invited my girlfriend Molly and two of my friends, Amy and Daniel. We all went as a group. We hit a lot of houses and got decent enough for candy. We were planning to go stop around 8:30 and head back to my house to watch some movies and have some of the candy, which we all agreed because around at that time most of the people start heading out candy anyways. So we thought it was enough decent time to even get back to my house. But when the time was around 8:30, we said we call off the Friday night and head back to my house. And as we were on the way back to my house, we saw this clown in some distance behind us. At first, he didn't do anything, just walking, and we didn't actually pay much attention to that. We just ignored him. But suddenly he stopped, and suddenly told us to give all of our candy. Like, give me all your candy. But we said no. But then he said something that freaked me and mostly the girls out. If you don't give me your candy, I will cut you open and take it all. That scared the living of the girls. They got so scared. It was clearly that they were freaked out because they were shaking. But me and Daniel, well, we weren't buying this because we were just 13 and we tried to act tough. I mean, especially for me, who actually tried to act tough enough to be brave to protect my girlfriend. I mean, who wouldn't? But then we start jogging away, but he followed us, even after I told my friends to run to my house as fast as they could, because it wasn't that far from us. We managed to get there in time, and my dad, who was in the front yard doing something, I don't remember what he did, this is a long time ago, saw us running, and the clown suddenly stopped in the middle of the street, and he saw my dad, and he just turned around and took off in a different direction. My dad called the police after we get inside. They looked for this guy, but as far as I know, they never found him. And that was pretty much the last trick or treat that I ever did to my friends. Well, for my life. Not because the clown scared us enough. It's because I was getting older. And that scared me. But it was a memory that will stick with me and my friends forever. Even though this is not much any part of this story, but me and Molly, well, let's say we're still together, and well, it's some topic that we from time to time talk about during Halloween, if it comes to that. And yeah, to this guy, the clown, let us never meet ever, ever again. My name is Tony, and I have one particular bad experience when it comes to Halloween during trick or treat years ago. I was really scared, but I can say this, it was only one time event it all happened. Ever since then and before then, I always loved Halloween. But this happened around 2010 when I was just 11 years old. I actually had been asked and begged my parents to let me go for a trick or treat alone, but they would even allow me to. But when I asked them if I could go with some of my friends, but they said no, only if my dad went along. So, and that we made a compromise. I could go with my friends alone just a little bit when my dad took my youngest sister Katie for trick or treat, which I thought was a good compromise. And so for Halloween, we went around to many houses and we got a very decent good candy, like some cans, a very good sized bar, candy bars and all that. And it was just a great time. We laughed and we had a good time basically. But then when we left one house, we saw that this clown was walking along the street and he saw us and followed after us. At first, we weren't even scared. I mean, this was just, after all, Halloween. And yes, we were just only 11 years old, but this guy started screaming that he said, "How dare you to take my candy? Give it all back!" He screamed so loud. That made us suddenly start. And I was like, what is this guy even thinking or even saying? So I decided to tell my friends that we should go, and that we started jogging, and this guy started screaming, "I'm gonna kill you all and take that candy for myself. I'm gonna kill you," screamed after us. We were looking after my dad, and we managed to find him, and we yelled out that we thought that this will scare the clown off, but it didn't. In fact, he continued to yelling and screaming that he was going to kill us, and my dad saw this. He told one other parent that he was standing next to look after my sister Katie while he ran up to this and tackled this clown to the ground. Yeah, my dad used to play football in his younger years, and the guy had turned out a real knife. Soon the police was called, and, well, turned out this particular clown was pretty high on crack, and was arrested for attempted murder because it turned out he was even going to kill us for real and steal our candy. And it later turned out he tried to do the same thing to at least a few other people that night. But luckily, though, no one was even hurt. And this guy, well, let's say he was behind bars for a pretty long time afterwards. I mean, we were also scared. I mean, I was just so scared that if I'm even going to do trick or treat the next year with my friends or anything, long story short, we did. But to that freaking clown guy, if you would even attacked us, I have no idea what I've done. But I'm really happy that my dad tackled you to the ground and hold you down until the police came. So even if you're for some chance you're out by now, let's hope you don't do this again to other people. So let's hope for that and we never meet again. Hi, my name is Brian. I'm 20 years old and I have a pretty bad experience when it comes to trick or treat many years ago. This happened around 2015 when I was just barely 12 years old. Even this Halloween itself is one of my favorite holidays. Well, especially when it came to the trick or treat to get so much free candy. But this particular Halloween, it it was the one I had never experienced. Like I said, it happened when I was just 12 years old, and I was out trick or treat with my friends Jordan, Michael, and Robin. We were just out and doing a lot of trick or treat along the neighborhood and even other houses nearby. We managed to get a lot of decent enough good candy. And we had made plans. After we had got enough candy, we would go back to my house to just watch some movie or something and just enjoy candy. It was around 8:30 when we decided to just head back to my house. But when we were just sewing this, and during the time when were doing our trick or treat, we saw this creepy Michael Myers guy walking around, and I mean, he was just minding his own business for some reason. And I mean, after all, this Halloween, and a lot of people was dressed as many different of those classical horror serial killers like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and you name it. And after we had decided to go back to my place, we saw this Michael Myers guy again, but he was some distance behind us. After all, we didn't pay much attention. But after 10 minutes of walking, Jordan had this feeling, which he told me sometimes later on, that when he looked back, he saw this Michael Myers guy was getting closer, and his eyes got so big and he almost went ghostly pale. He told us he had a real knife in his hand. I told my friends in a whisper, we should run and hide. Michael came up with this idea that we should run to this cemetery that is since it's close by and is big enough, which has also very much big bushes that we could hide behind. And as it was getting around, since this cemetery was close, just around the corner, next corner, and when we just walked around the corner, we took off as so fast as we could. We managed to get there just in time and had to get in there and hide some big bushes. And only about a few minutes later, this guy ran up to the fence, looked around, and we thought that he was going to just walk away, that he didn't see us. But to our horror, instead of just simply walking off, he walked into the cemetery, started looking around, and this was pretty dark, and there was no much street lights nearby. So that was pretty much a good thing that if they were, I'm not sure if they would just, if he could see us a lot faster. But we sat there in silence. And I looked at my watch and told my friends that after a few minutes, we should probably just get out of there fast as we could. And after like 5 or 10 minutes, we stood up and just quietly walked around the bushes and took off. We ran as fast as we could to the gate and opened it and just ran down the street. And we saw this man on the street only a few minutes after us. He was running at full speed, but we didn't care. He started screaming. He started screaming himself, and we started yelling for help. Somehow we managed to get away from this guy. When we got to my house, we told my parents, who believed us. Because we weren't the type that make lies or pranks at all. And by the next morning, my dad, when he got outside the door, he found a Michael Myers mask with a knife through it on top of one of the pumpkins outside our house. We did, of course, reported this, but nothing came out of it, since we had no idea who the guy was. And even the most other question is how he did find out where I live, because we took off so fast that we thought that he wouldn't be able to find us. And even this, I never saw this guy again. And that was the last trick or treat that me and my friends ever did. To this guy, let's hope that we never see you ever again. I really hope that all of you had a good evening by listening to my 5 terrifying Halloween stories. As we all know, Halloween is the one time of year when ghosts, werewolves, vampires can come out and play with us. And don't worry, like I said before, they are my friends, and I make sure that they will never hurt any of you. Maybe if you behave. But anyways, I hope that all of you had a good Halloween. And before I end, happy Halloween. Happy holidays. And once again, happy Halloween.